Hello and welcome to another Israeli Frenemies, broadcasting here from Tel Aviv on ILTV, the only show where you can see and hear the Israeli right and the Israeli left fighting and trying to make the best of it. This show is at the end of 2017, and we're going to dive into the issues that we focused during our shows in this past year. So let's get started.
Well, this year, Jerusalem has been on a slightly bumpy ride, but an exciting one. For the first time in the last 2,000 years, Jerusalem is finally being recognized back as the Jewish capital, as the holy city for the Jewish nation. It is truly, for me, it's miraculous. I think that what Donald Trump did this year was truly mind-blowing. I mean, I don't think anybody believed that he would do it during the elections, even after, and now they said he would do it. People are saying he's not going to do it. It's really, for me, it's miraculous. I would even say the fact that the world, the leader of the free world, the President of the United States of America, has recognized formally Jerusalem as the capital city of Israel, as well as the holy city for the Jewish people. I'm ecstatic about that decision. I'm really, the year ends for me in a very high.
I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you're ecstatic. I think that, again, I think we discussed this before. I think that Donald Trump's declaration is important. I don't think it's that mind-blowing. I don't think that anything changed since his declaration, apart from the fact that it's going to be the Jerusalem subway is going to be station of the Jewish quarter is going to be named after him. Apart from that, look, his decision doesn't change anything. Jerusalem is the capital of the state of Israel since 1948. That was David Ben-Gurion's decision, together with his fellow leadership of the time, and that's it. I don't need Donald Trump, Abu Mazen, or anyone else to tell me where my capital is.
Mazen's not going to say it.
No, I don't care. He might, by the way. In any case, I do think it's important, though, that the United States of America, being Israel's strongest ally, it's about time, after almost 70 years, for America to recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. It's the only problem with this declaration is that if it would have been done not in the context of a standstill in the Israeli-Palestinian talks, where there's no horizon for any peace progress or anything like that, and it's translated by the Palestinians themselves and by the world, as we saw at the UN, as a punch in the eye of the Palestinians. And an American president who declares that he wants to be the bringer of the big deal, the ultimate deal between Israel and the Palestinians, I think his own initiative got a major blow because of this, the timing of the declaration.
I want to clarify again a couple of things that you said just now. Number one, he didn't say that he's going to bring a deal. He says he's going to try to get the sides together to make a deal.
Right.
In fact, he said he's not going to force a deal on anyone. In terms of Jerusalem, though, the fact that the UN and the Arab world are going crazy over this is more a reflection on their own problems of lack of integrity than on me. The only thing that Donald Trump did, first, he said he's going to move the embassy, so that does change. But what did change was the false narrative that's based on diplomacy has been wiped clean, and now it's about truth. So the Palestinians and the Arabs and the Muslim world and everyone else in the UN, they don't have a claim, a historic, national, or religious one, on Jerusalem.
Well, they definitely have a claim on the way they see it.
Okay, and but they see it in a false, it's a lie.
You see it as a lie. They
it's historically not true.
They think that what you say is a lie, but in order for America to be an honest broker in a situation where you have two sides who subjectively see that they have claims. Of course, an Israeli, I believe that, I think, it's a given that Jerusalem is Israel's capital, although I don't think that excludes a Palestinian capital on another part of Jerusalem as well. That's my own humble opinion. But I think that as an honest broker, when he declares that this is it, in this timing, without giving anything to the Palestinians, it caused some turmoil.
We're going back to this point again. I really do want to understand from you, not for a point of arguing. I want to understand from you. Can you please tell me what claim people who call themselves Palestinians have on Jerusalem? Just, no, 1 second, calm. I really want to understand from you. What is the historic, national, or religious claim that the Palestinians have on Jerusalem? Please explain to me.
With all due respect, Ari, I think that your attempt to accept all of your positions as an ultimate truth,
I just asked you a question.
While the Palestinians or others, there's a famous, I forgot the scholar's name, who talked about the imaginary nations. All nations tell themselves a story. For us, the story we tell ourselves is the ultimate truth. Some of it is imaginary. Even the Bible, excuse me, sir, excuse me, let me finish. Even the Bible,
you're deflecting something else.
Even the Bible, and I tell you that as a person of faith.
Right.
The Bible has many myths within it.
What does it have to do with Jerusalem? I'm asking you a question. Explain to me in your view.
For instance,
there
is a strong claim in. I'll tell you. Yes. There's a strong claim.
Yes.
That King Solomon never existed.
But
another big issue in Israel this year, and I predict that next year as well, is the fights around the Shabbat. As some of our viewers know, in Israel, on the one hand, the law adopted some of the orthodoxy approach to Shabbat, that everything has to be shut down. On the other hand, a majority of Israelis want public transportation on Saturdays. I repeat, in Israel, on Saturdays, on Shabbat, there is no public transportation. Also, now the government wants to even shut down grocery stores that are open in the big cities on Saturdays. Grocery stores that obviously don't, the people who purchase things there feel that they need it. They want to shut it down. And there's a huge debate here in Israel. And Ari, what do you think?
So again, Uri, I love to have these debates with you. And we might agree, by the way, that religious coercion doesn't help anyone. I would agree with you. I don't think that I can force someone to be religious. But there are things that you said in the beginning which are simply inaccurate. It wasn't adopting Orthodox laws. In 1950, it was Ben-Gurion and more of the secular Jews who took a socialist word of this and said there's going to be a day. Yes, it was a day of rest since 1950. It was not the Orthodox Jews who made the law. Since 1950, there's a law of day of rest. That day of rest says that unless the Minister of Labor gives permission, everything is closed. It wasn't an Orthodox law. The people who broke that law.
No, but public transport?
Everything was closed
Why
down.
is it active in Haifa?
Hold on one second. Never, again, since 1950, the beginning of the state, Tel Aviv is the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Even in Tel Aviv, everything was closed down. Now, the people who broke the law were not the ultra-Orthodox. It was the people in Tel Aviv who opened up their stores against the law. Now, whether I agree with the law or not is really irrelevant right now, but you can't call people who break a law and fight for them. In terms of the issue of Shabbat itself, look, the Jewish nation to come back to the land of Israel, the state of Israel, and we're building a Jewish state. That doesn't mean that you have to keep all the laws or I'm going to be on your plate or anything else. You can do whatever you like. In terms of the state of Israel, the second we strip away the Jewish character to the state, we strip away our rights. We don't have a right to this land if it doesn't stem from our Judaism.
I'm not saying,
by the way, I'm not saying you have to keep Shabbat in your home, but public services, and by the way, the law always puts things on me. With the things I have to serve in the army, which I like to do, I have to pay taxes. That is the taste of a law.
Right.
So when the law,
but Ari, can I?
Yeah, just let me finish up. When the law in Israel in the 50s by secular people said there will be no stores open, you have to keep the law.
First of all, it's not accurate what you say right now. If you want facts,
What's not
right
accurate?
Now, each municipality, I'm telling you, each municipality has the right to decide.
That's
on
now.
its,
That wasn't in the 50s.
That's ever since.
Recently.
No, this is all from the Brits. This is that's
get your.
As I told you, I have two law degrees. It's from the Brits' time. A mayor and a municipality has the right to decide on its.
So you're saying we have British law?
But Ari,
you say we have British law?
Ari,
now.
I listened.
I understand. You're saying we have British law now? We're
some of the Israeli legislation, it comes from the British mandate.
The law of Shabbat comes from the British?
Not the law of Shabbat. The law of this particular issue, says, maybe, you know what? That's the law. The law says that the municipalities have the ability to have their own policy.
Today, that
of
was
what
not
is
the law.
going to. It's
That was
not.
not
There
the
was
law.
never a change in the law.
Derry was the one who didn't bring it to courts. You're not
No,
accurate.
excuse me, sir.
The-
It's
the
not true. What
municipalities never-
you're taking?
I will
No,
show
this
you.
is the law.
I will show it to
What they're trying to do this week or next week
Yes.
is to change the law
No.
and to have the yes.
No.
So why are they voting next
Oh,
week?
so thank you for asking. I'll
I
tell
already
you.
know. I won't ask.
Don't
It's
ask.
about time
Go
that
ahead.
this fake news. And I'm trying to say something, and you're cutting me. And
can't be inaccurate.
no, you are wrong.
Would you
I
like-
am right.
Would you like to put our
You
political
don't
views
know
on
the
it?
facts.
Would you like to put your
You
vid-
don't know
would
the
you
facts.
like
The
to
fact
put-
that
I'll
you
put
say
my-
you do.
I'll put my political view on it. You willing to put your political view on it? If you're wrong, will you turn right?
My
If I'm
dear
wrong,
friend
I'll turn left.
Ari Fold,
Yes.
in Israel, municipality has the right to decide what is going to be open or not.
Correct.
And what they're trying to do now is a new law that will make the Minister of Internal Affairs have the veto power over it. 1. 2. The 1950 status quo agreement was done by Ben Gurion, but not because of Day of Rest and all of that.
Of course, it's called the law of Day of
Hold-
Rest.
Let me please
Yes.
finish.
Go ahead.
He did it. In order to get it, it's in 1948, by the way, not in 1950. It was done. He gave a commitment to the Orthodox rabbis because he feared that in 1947, he did that because he feared that they are going to talk to the UN Council, the UN Commission
and
on
total
the partition plan.
fabrication.
You are
the Supreme.
Ari,
the
you
Supreme.
take-
I'll
you
give you the
take
facts. I'll give you the
truth
facts.
From
I will give
3,000 years ago, as ultimate
now
truth,
it's-
and well documented
You're losing
recent
control.
history.
You're losing control.
You say it's an invention.
You're losing control.
Man,
The
I can't talk to
Supreme
you,
Court
man.
of Israel-
You live in
Right.
a world
I
of
understand.
fantasy
I
in
understand.
La La Land.
You done?
I live here in the
Are you
state of
done?
Israel.
Now the facts come.
In
In
La La Land.
1950.
What are you taking, man?
I'll explain to you. In 1950.
What are you on?
Again, it's very cute. You're very cute. It's not going to help you lie. In 1950, the law is called the Law of the Day of Rest. It was passed by secular socialists, and it was passed in the Supreme Court to protect people's rights to have a day of rest. Had nothing to do with the ultra-Orthodox. You have just told a complete
am all
and total
for-
fabrication, which I
Okay.
will prove
You-
after
you-
the show.
You don't know the status quo agreement. You never heard of it.
Again, this is not the
You
status quo.
don't know about the status
This
quo
is
agreement.
not the
It's
status-
part of the status quo agreement.
Correct.
And the reason that Haifa does have public transport on Shabbat is because of the
Again,
status quo
that is
agreement.
not from 1950.
Facts don't. You are more. Okay.
You know, as someone who was born and raised in the United States of America, I would say this subject is a little bit close to my heart. Someone who's born and raised in a Jewish atmosphere, a Jewish community, always put Israel up on the pedestal. And when I was 17, I decided to come here on my own and actually live the dream. I think that there's the very fragile balance between the Jews living around the world and the Israeli Jewish state. That being said, most of the Jews around the world are not really so up in arms. This is more a religious kind of like sect kind of thing. Up over the Kotel, the Western Wall, which has been known as a synagogue since we got it back in 1967. And now certain sects of Judaism, the Reform, want to now make it into a more of a Reform tradition synagogue instead of the traditional Jewish synagogue. And they now gave them a separate section off the other side of the wall.
They're not giving them.
They did. It's built. I'm there every day, which has happened to be empty today, by the way, which is the 10th of Tevet, which actually signifies the siege around Jerusalem. But there's a full section. I'll be happy to show it to you on live Facebook. If you go to the right side of the wall, there's a full section called the Israel section, which is for mixed prayer and mixed everything else. But I find it a little bit audacious that people in America would say we're going to stop supporting Israel unless they give in to our religious demands when they don't live here. But yeah, I'd love to hear your take on it.
First of all, as in the former debate, facts and reality and is not your. You don't care about it.
I'm going to film it and put it up on the show afterwards.
Film and put it. So what you say that the debate so the government of Israel when decided not to have Ezrat Israel, not to have this.
It's built.
So everything is fake. What Bibi when it's all fake.
What's fake?
Okay, so now for the real facts on the ground.
You say Ezrat Israel doesn't exist? Does it not exist?
I did not disturb you when you gave your imaginary speech. There is first of all, the state of Israel, I'll start with the beginning. The state of Israel is the state of Jews and Arabs and everybody that lives here.
It's not.
But the fact that it's a national homeland of the Jews means that it's the homeland for all Jews in the world.
Correct.
That's the essence of Zionism.
I agree.
So, with all due respect, whether they live here or not, the fact that the Kotel is the most sacred place where you can worship these days, that means that it's for all Jews. Not all Jews live here in Israel.
You don't hear an argument from me.
And a big majority of American Jews,
Yes.
which is in a community that is equal in size to the Jewish community here in Israel,
Right.
is Reform.
Correct.
And by the way, there are Reform and there are also conservative Jews.
Right.
And by the way, there are even Orthodox Jews who believe in egalitarian prayer.
And therefore what?
What?
And therefore what?
Therefore, they asked for the Kotel, not the Kotel itself. There's a struggle of the women of the wall who are trying for years now to get the right of to pray the way they believe, according to Judaism, according
Not
to all the
according to
Jewish
Judaism.
tradition.
Not according to Judaism.
Judaism is not the only way, as Ari Fuld sees it. There's
Judaism is
other
Judaism.
ways
You
of
have-
people who
You want to
worship.
change the definition,
and
change
even,
the name.
as I said before,
Yes.
the largest denomination of the Jewish
It's not a popularity
of the Jewish
contest.
world is not like
It's
you.
not a democracy. Sorry.
Fine. You don't think it's a democracy.
Judaism is not a
Thank
democracy.
God, you are not determining anything. You are not a dictator.
You're right. Judaism
Okay,
is dictated
and now
by Jewish law.
these women
Yes.
who are brave, trying to get their right of free worship. Now, in order to get to a compromise, the Jewish agency, led by Natan Sharansky, and some ministers, including, by the way, Naftali Bennett, tried to bring a compromise. They will say there will be the Wailing Wall where it is now,
Right.
and that there will be a new Israel. It's called the Israel section, which will be open to all denominations and will be egalitarian.
Right.
The fact is, again, for our women viewers, right now you have a huge section for males, for men, and a tiny section for
Not
women.
tiny section.
Tiny section
It's
for
not a
women.
I'm gonna put out a
separated by
video
a
tomorrow
wall.
night on video. You're gonna
And
see the
that's
truth.
what is being done now.
Okay.
And that's unfortunately not going to change. It's not
You
even
realize I'm
going
put
to
a
be
video
equal.
up? You realize I'm going to put a video up in
And
the women's
now,
section?
and
You
the
realize
Haredi Jews, the Haredi parties in the Netanyahu coalition put a veto on a compromise that Netanyahu was willing to accept, and they said, if you'll do that, we'll leave your government. And Netanyahu, in order to survive politically, said it won't happen. Now,
Right.
with all due respect to everything you say
ahead.
this is imaginary. I don't know where you live.
So
I don't know what you
inviting
read.
all our viewers, after the show, I will send it to ILTV, a picture of the women's section. Did you claim, wait a second, claim
So
it's tiny?
send it.
And a video
So
of-
what's going on? So
one
why is there a
second.
debate
whoa.
with the
I
Israeli
didn't
government?
I didn't interrupt you.
No,
I didn't interrupt
explain
you.
it.
Stop now. I will send the video into ILTV.
With the populist wave that is, Israel is undergoing, now there's a new populist that every few years, a card that's been raised by politicians who don't do anything but just talk. Now they raise the death penalty card. Thank God, there's no death penalty in Israel. Every now or then, when the right-wing leaders don't have anything to do, when they can't face terrorism, they said, oh, we're going to have a death penalty. The latest person who joined this club is Benjamin Netanyahu himself, who's up to his neck with criminal investigations, doesn't have anything to say. Now, in order to reach the populace, he says, death penalty. I don't think it has many chances to happen. I think that in the Jewish homeland, this is the last place where we need a death penalty. People of faith think, like us, that death is from God. Others think it's a way of nature. Whatever, man can't, or a state can't have a death penalty. I will say two more very quick points.
Open.
First of all, in Jewish tradition, the Jewish council, the old council, the Sanhedrin of 2,000 years ago, death penalty was a last resort that they almost never reached, only if all 70
Correct.
members of the council would agree upon it, not 3 judges as this legislation
100%.
is saying. And second, in a world where terrorists come in to kill themselves, it's not going to be any deterrent for terrorists. If anything, it will only make the terrorist attacks harsher. I don't think it should be in the hands of man.
Okay, so first of all, the whole beginning of the monologue I enjoyed because it really shows your frustration, left-wing frustration that you guys just can't beat Bibi Netanyahu for 12 years now. So I'm just going to put that aside and ignore it. It was funny. It was funny for me, but I'm going to ignore it. In terms of the death penalty, look, we are dealing with a culture that worships death, both ours and their own. We're dealing with a culture that put as their goal the genocide of the Jewish people and destruction of the state of Israel. This is why the right can never understand the left and even center-right leaders who take on the left ideology to make deals with people whose whole ideology is based on killing you. That being said, we are looking for 2 things to happen. 1 is a deterrence, and 2 is a punishment. Are you okay with the fact that we gave Eichmann the death penalty?
Yes.
Why?
That's a unique case in history.
So you're not going to answer. Okay. So
no, the Nazis.
Why?
The Nazis.
Why did he deserve death?
And you know what? If you raised that already.
No. If you're not going to answer the question, I'm going to go on. Why did Eichmann deserve it?
I'm trying to answer your question.
Yes.
I'm saying that the Nazis here in this Jewish state, the Nazis are a unique case in Jewish history. I really don't think that there's any comparison to anything that minimize us. That we can't fight. Are we going now to? I did. The Nazis are a unique case.
I asked you why Eichmann
the
is
Nazis
by
are unique. Is a unique case. Adolf Eichmann is responsible with his own decisions to the death of hundreds of thousands of Jews. Hundreds of thousands of Jews.
It's numbers. So if the Arabs are only responsible for 20,000 Jewish deaths, then they don't deserve the death penalty. But 100,000, yes. So it's a matter of numbers. It's not a matter of morality, you're saying.
So you're okay with Jews who committed acts of terror that they should be killed by the state? Or is it a racist law that you're talking about?
Uri, number 1, I'm not going to let you deflect the question that I asked you. I'm fully against anybody killing anyone who's innocent. End of story.
Really?
Yes.
You're okay?
I just said I'm against someone killing someone innocent. Now listen.
So Yigal Amir should have been executed?
No, listen.
He killed the prime minister.
Uri, listen to
this is the biggest sin you can do in a democracy.
I'm going to go back to the question again, and we could talk about Yigal Amir if you'd like. You said that nobody has a right to kill man except God. Why then, according to your ideology, should Eichmann be punishable by death? You haven't explained that to me.
I said, first of all, I didn't. Maybe I would not give him a
You said
death
you are
penalty.
for it. Explain
I
to me
said
why.
that the Nazis is a unique case.
What's the uniqueness
Because
about
the
them?
Nazis actually eliminated a large, and if they could have gone for it with a few more years,
right.
They would have eliminated the Jewish people.
Okay,
that's a unique case in human history.
I got it, Uri, I accept it. Therefore, exactly for that reason, you would agree with me that the PLO charter that calls for the destruction of Israel and the Hamas
it's ridiculous.
and Hamas.
It's ridiculous.
And Hamas,
to compare.
And Hamas
It minimizes.
It
minimizes the memory of my family
for the
who died in the Holocaust. What you're doing right now.
You can speak over me all you want. The charter of Hamas that calls for the genocide of Jews.
Come on.
You just said that they called for the. This past week, the Jewish nation commemorated the 10th of the month of Tevet, the Hebrew month of Tevet. There are 3 things that happened in this month and why a lot of Jews fast to commemorate that. 1 is the original siege around Jerusalem before the temple was destroyed. 2 is that the Holy Torah was translated in many different languages and used and perverted by other nations to go against the Jews. And 3, one of the most famous tribes of the Jewish nation were killed on this day. So this day, the Jewish nation is actually commemorating that. There's a fast day that we had this week. And let's hope that in the future we won't have any more fast days. We'll be able to rejoice and be festive in Jerusalem, where they say the temple is supposed to be built and be a house for prayer for all nations.
I don't want to debate this, but if you go out to the street and you make a poll, I think one of 20 people would know that today is the 10th of. We can say the Jewish nation. I don't think it's the Jewish. Most Israelis, most Israelis don't follow that. And
I know it's a problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, you're watching.
You think it's a problem?
Israeli Frenemies, please share us out on Facebook and Twitter. Anywhere else you're out. God bless you. We'll see you next week.
And Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Happy 2018. Let it be a year of peace. Amen.